Welcome to the Research Notes video number 2. We're just going to continue working through your yellow packet where the first video left off. We're going to start with how we as 7th graders are going to cover research this year. We are going to be reading several articles about current events. On a bigger research project, you might have to go to different sources like books and web pages. Since we're doing small research, we're just going to focus on the articles. We will have a single research question that we will hope to answer by the time we're done with our sources. We're then going to find facts and opinions that will answer that question. Now, the only information we are worried about is facts and opinions that answer our research question, which means if you run into information that isn't connected to the research question, we can ignore it and skip it. Usually, we would be presenting this information in an organized format, such as a paper, a presentation, or a poster. This year, due to time constraints, we are going to skip that final step. So we'll do everything but writing the final paper. We are, however, going to learn how to cite our sources, which means to tell where our information came from that we found during the research process. Now, as I said, we will focus on nonfiction articles. So we will not go into any books or additional web pages this year. Nonfiction means real. These articles will be about real current events, real people, real places. And as I said, we will focus on current events this year. So we will research what is happening to real people now. In other classes, you might be researching historical events, things that have already happened. Now, for that research question, your research questions are always based off of a topic, and then you look for facts and opinions that will answer that specific research question. You only focus on that research question, which means if you're ever looking at a source and go, "This has nothing to do with my question," you can skip that source. This helps narrow down your focus so you don't read sources that you don't need. Now, we will be gathering both facts and opinions for our research. So it's not just the proven evidence, but what people think about our research question. So let's start with facts. The facts will be the information that can be proven one way or the other. Again, a fact can be proven. Here's an example. If I were in a room with 12 people, I could state this fact. There are 12 people in the room. That is a provable fact. I just have to count the people to prove it. On the other hand, if I said all of the people in the room are scary, I cannot prove that. That is an opinion because I cannot provide 100% evidence that everybody thinks these people are scary. Another person might not think the same thing, and they can't prove their opinion either. Nobody can say who's wrong or right. So saying that people are scary is not a fact, it is an opinion. Look at this statement. The people in the room all have 8 legs. Now, people have 2 legs, not 8. So what we actually have here is what's called a false fact, which means we can prove that it is wrong. It's not an opinion, it is simply an incorrect fact. For opinions, these are going to be the pieces of information that cannot be proven because they're based off someone's belief or viewpoint. With an opinion, two people can have opposite opinions, and neither person is necessarily wrong or right. They just have different viewpoints. So I can think that the people in the room are scary, but somebody else might think those same people are very nice. To me, my viewpoint, they're scary. The other person's viewpoint is different. And we'll never be able to prove which one of us is 100% correct because we see it differently. So it's an opinion. Now, in this statement, there are 12 people in the room and they are scary. This has both fact and opinion in it. I can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that there are 12 people in the room by counting them, but I can never prove 100% that all of those people are scary. So in one sentence, we had both opinion and fact. Now, once we've gathered all of our facts and our opinions that will answer our research question, there'll be one final step for us where we cite our sources. To cite a source means we tell people, where did you find your facts and opinions? To do that, we are going to provide a list of our sources. Now, this list used to be called a bibliography, but that is an old-fashioned term. The new term is actually a works cited or a works cited page, but they mean the same thing. It is a list of your sources, all the places that you got information from. We're going to briefly touch on something called parenthetical citation, which is usually used when you actually create your paper or your poster or your presentation. And parenthetical citation lets you cite the source in the actual research product. So it's not just putting a list at the end of your paper of your sources, but parenthetical citation lets you cite the source in the middle of a paragraph, for example, telling your reader where each fact came from. Now, citing our sources is what we do to avoid something called plagiarism. And plagiarism is very, very bad. Plagiarism is when you copy somebody but don't give them credit, like stealing their information. If you are getting facts and opinions from a different source and you don't tell people where you got that information from, you are stealing it. Or when you copy and paste something and try to pretend that it's your own, that is plagiarism. That is theft of somebody else's information and words. Or if you just don't cite your source, meaning you don't tell where it came from by providing a works cited page or parenthetical citation, that's another way to plagiarize. Now, this is an example of a plagiarism report from a college, basically saying that if you plagiarize, this is what a college has the ability to do. And this one happens to come from the Concordia University of St. Paul. Now, you might want to pause the video and read through this, but a couple things I want to point out is if you plagiarize in college, which means you either steal somebody's words, trying to pretend that they're your own, or you don't tell where your information came from, some things that can happen, they have the right to give you a 0 on that assignment exam or even for the whole course. A failing grade means you won't get credit for your college course. They might even make you take extra credits, which means you have to take extra classes at college. Now, 24 credits, that is approximately 8 extra classes. That can be an extra year of college because you plagiarized. You can also be suspended from your college or expelled, which means they kick you out, they do not let you back in, and they'll probably put this on your student record. It's really hard to get accepted into another college if you've been kicked out of a previous college for plagiarism. So make sure, even now at 7th grade, we start learning how to not copy and paste other people's words to try to pretend they are our own. And when we do use other people's information, we cite that source. We tell people where our information came from so that we do not get accused of plagiarism. At this point, if you need to pause the video and rewind to fill out your packet, go ahead. But by now, you should have all of your yellow packet filled out, and make sure you bring that with you to class for the rest of the week.